The shutdown showdown continues in Washington. We'll check in with Joe St. George and see what the odds are of a shutdown actually happening. Plus, some neighbors in Robstown have been without utilities for years, why they believe they're trapped in what they're calling a hopeless battle between the city. And we take a look at our SPID Skycam right now. It's looking pretty good as far as traffic, 71 degrees outside right now as well. We will check in with meteorologist Stephanie Lover with a look at your forecast and a look at your roadways this morning. It's Friday, March 14th. Your Chris 6 Sunrise starts now. Hey, good morning, folks, and happy Friday. Welcome to Chris 6 Sunrise. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Michelle Hoffman. Brian Hoffman is off today, but we do have meteorologist Stephanie Lauber in today with us wearing purple.
Yes, we are. We're matching, but we usually match accidentally. Today it's on purpose.
Yes.
We are celebrating Pi Day and dressing for STEM. We're going to explain what that means coming up. But if you can, join us in wearing purple today to promote Ladies in STEM. We'll talk to you more about it coming up, but we've got to get you up and out the door with a look at the roadways. All right, so yesterday, the morning commute was a bit foggy, and that lingered for a while. We are going to see that again today, but the fog is not quite as dense this morning. We have some trouble spots, but we're talking whole miles of visibility across the board. So perfect 10 for Beeville. Corpus Christi not far behind with 9 miles visibility. Inland portions of the coastal bend, say along 281 in Jim Wells County, not looking too bad. Falfurrias is at 5 miles visibility. It actually goes up to 6 miles once you get to Alice. It's along the coast where we have the worst visibility. Places like Rockport, Port Aransas. Yeah, we're down to 2.5 miles visibility in Port A, 3 in Rockport, and even in the Bluff, NAS Corpus Christi. If you're taking 361 up to Port A, you're going to find some of that fog. So please be careful out there. But drive times don't seem to be impacted by this morning. We're seeing those typical drive times where it'll take you about 24 minutes to get into downtown from the island, 11 minutes over the Harbor Bridge, and for those of you coming to us from Calallen, about a 15-minute ride for you. So as you head out the door, make sure you stay safe and you drive safe. That's a look at your traffic report. More on your forecast in 4 minutes.
Steph, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you in just a bit. But first, we head to Washington, where we're less than 24 hours away until a possible government shutdown. Our Scripps News Group political director, Joe St. George, joins us live now this morning. And good morning, Joe. So I know it might be too early to tell right now, but what are the odds of a shutdown actually happening?
Well, I think the odds have decreased dramatically in the last 12 hours or so, and here's why. We'll start with the math. As a reminder, Senate Democrats are going to need to join Senate Republicans in order to avoid a government shutdown. Republicans don't need every Senate Democrat. In fact, they only need 8 of them to join them and avert a government shutdown. Federal funding runs out at midnight Eastern time tonight, 11 p.m. Central time. 2 Democratic senators are on the record saying they're going to vote for this. The good news for Republicans is one of them is the most powerful Senate Democrat. Senator Chuck Schumer announcing last night that he will be supporting this effort to avoid a government shutdown. A day ago, he was being called Shutdown Schumer by the right. This morning, many on the left are referring to him as surrender Schumer. Many Democrats, many progressives wanted to use this moment as a fight to stand up against the Trump administration. That's why you saw House Democrats vote against this resolution. But Senator Schumer told reporters yesterday in a pen and pad briefing that he was essentially too worried about what a shutdown would do to the country, that it wouldn't be a normal shutdown, that it may give the Trump administration more power to gut government agencies. And he was worried. Some Democratic senators have openly said that they're worried that perhaps it'd be difficult to open back up the federal government going forward. I've been covering this place a bit. Hard to see a scenario where Leader Schumer stuck his neck out here saying he's going to vote for this, and there aren't 6 other Senate Democrats in hiding, being a bit cagey right now, but planning ultimately to vote for this sometime today. We'll get our first votes a little bit after the lunch hour on this Friday. But again, the odds of a shutdown decreasing dramatically because Senator Schumer has come out in support of this bill. Guys.
Well, thank you so much, Joe, for the information. Hope you have a great weekend.
Hey there, happy Friday. We are kicking off this weekend with lots of warm weather, lots of sunshine coming back to the forecast over the next couple of days, but we do need to be very careful out there. Fire danger is on the rise with those temperatures, so we need to be very cautious about what weekend activities we have planned. And you know, the heat may just keep you inside or at the beach. Still, we need to be very careful. I'll explain what that impact could look like for those plans coming up. But first, we got to get you up and out the door. So here's how things are trending in your neighborhood. We are warm. There is not a whole lot of difference in the temperature out there. We're on either side of 70 degrees for all of our neighborhoods. It's the fog that's a bit of a differentiator for a lot of places. We're down to 2.5 miles in Port Aransas. That's the lowest visibility reading we have. And a lot of our fog seems to be concentrated along that coastal commute along 361 and Highway 35 up in Rockport, where the visibility is 3 miles. Still, this is better than yesterday. We had fractions of a mile yesterday and even a dense fog advisory for a short time. So the commute's looking better today, but that fog is going to linger throughout the late morning hours, eventually clearing up around just before the lunch hour. But this afternoon, once the clouds and fog are gone, look at that humidity dropping. We're actually really concerned about tomorrow afternoon's drop in humidity because we are once again going to see a dry line swinging through and a cold front tomorrow to reinforce that dry air. So that's where the fire danger concerns come into the mix. But today, thankfully, when we see that lowest humidity, it seems like that's where we'll get that break with our wind direction changing. So the wind speed will come down a little bit before it picks back up in gustiness through the evening. So here's what that looks like in your neighborhood. We are going to be dancing with record high temperatures again today, and I think those inland neighborhoods are really going to be feeling it as our temperatures climb to the triple digits. Here in Corpus Christi, we're watching the number to beat, 95 degrees, and I think at least for a brief time we have a good chance of doing that by a degree, maybe two, but it is going to be a warm evening as we approach the sunset hour just after 7 o'clock. So going in through today, we will see gusts at times that give us concern. Again, thankfully, our winds going to make that change from southwest to southeast as a dry line kind of nears us in the coastal bend, and so that will give us a quick little cheat code to bring that wind speed down. However, on the flip side, it'll be short-lived, and that gustiness will come right back for the evening commute. We'll still be very hot outside and dry, so fire danger is going to be a big concern for us today. And once this front moves through tomorrow, it's out in West Texas already, just past through El Paso. That is going to give us drier air behind it, and that's where the fire danger comes into the mix. So we're watching for these three ingredients and how the trend around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Relative humidity is just going to be bone dry. Wind gusts are going to be picking up, as I mentioned, during the afternoon, and we still have very dry vegetation out there. So a red flag warning or fire weather warning in effect here for everybody in pink. That does include inland portions of San Patricio, Nueces, and Clayburgh counties. Fire weather watch for everyone else. That begins at noon, goes until 9 o'clock tonight. We'll have more alerts in effect for tomorrow because our fire danger is on the rise. Here we go. High for most of us today, extreme tomorrow. That is a 5 out of 5 for fire danger on Saturday afternoon. So we'll talk about when we find relief from this coming up.
Futile, that's what some Robstown neighbors are calling the effort to get the utilities that they've been left without. I'm your Robstown neighborhood news reporter Adam Beam speaking with those neighbors and the city's response coming up.
Hey, welcome back, folks. It is 6:11 this Friday morning. You're getting a live look right now from our Manny Cam. He's over on Shoreline Boulevard at the American Bank Center. Hey, if you think that view is good, you should check out his view of the lunar eclipse from last night. We'll definitely make sure we post it on our website and on Facebook as well. Well, thank you again so much for that view and for your video of the lunar eclipse, Manny. Folks, we still have more neighborhood news, an investigation from Chris Six Investigates.
Water, sewage, and basic services. They're utilities that more often than not we take for granted. But for some Annex Robstown residents, they've been left high and dry, feeling abandoned by a city decision made over 4 decades ago. I'm your neighborhood news reporter Adam Beam with those frustrated neighbors trapped in what they call a hopeless battle.
They're supposed to provide, but they don't. And that's the only thing we just got to do, just live with it.
That's the voice of Bill Noble, and that's the sentiment he shares with his wife, Murtis, as well as other neighbors in Robstown.
We've been here, what, 50 years? and they're still trying to provide.
The Nobles are just one family among 23 properties annexed by Robstown in 1981. The promise? Full city services, emergency response, water, sewage, the works. Fast forward 40 years later, these homeowners find themselves stranded without basics, paying for services they've never received.
The city did not fulfill the contract of providing all the services that they promised that they would.
Joe Ocañas knows the struggle firsthand. His septic tank collapsed during the 2021 Texas freeze. 3 years later, he's still showering at friends' homes and using neighbors' bathrooms.
We have been paying taxes all these years, year after year.
Despite repeated pleas to city officials, these residents face a bureaucratic brick wall, and the time has only complicated their fight.
What the city has told me that they have no money.
6 Investigates pressed the city on its obligations. After multiple attempts, Jerry Guerra, the legal counsel for Robstown's utility system, finally responded by phone.
Well, from a legal perspective, I think that the city stance would be that any request for any services for the annexed property should have been brought 40 years ago.
Guerra cited a 10-year service plan from 1981, claiming the window for legal action closed decades ago. Mayor David Martinez expressed sympathy when asked if the city would help despite no legal obligation, but says given the city's financial situation, nothing more can be done.
Well, Mayor Martinez says the council would not consider any action on the utilities or the annexed properties at this time. He did note that if finances were to improve and if the money was there, that it would be a priority for them. Reporting from Bauer Road in Robstown for 6 Investigates, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam.
Hey there, good morning to you. We are looking at a hot Friday ahead of us, but we need to be on our toes because not only are the temperatures on the rise, but so is our fire danger, and that is a huge concern here across the coastal bend. We're going to top the scales tomorrow with a 5 out of 5 extreme fire danger for Saturday. So I'll show you what that risk is going to look like throughout the weekend in your neighborhood coming up and what you can do to avoid some of the things that could maybe spark a fire or something of that sort that we can avoid and control. So this morning, we don't really have the concern for that. It is soupy outside. We are looking at temperatures on either side of 70 degrees. There's a bit of a breeze across some neighborhoods like Beeville, south-southwest wind at 16 miles per hour. Here in Corpus Christi at the airport, a south wind at 16 miles per hour. It's in the places where we have lighter winds, generally along the coast, that we have the worst visibility. Port A, a 9-mile-an-hour wind is helping you out. We have whole miles to talk about, but it's 2.5 miles. So we could use some better visibility. That commute along 361 is going to be foggy, but while we'll keep the haze around for the mid to late morning hours, it will not be as bad as it was yesterday, thankfully. So here's how things trend as we go through this morning. Around 10:30, we're already in the middle 70s, which may not seem like a huge warm up, but watch as the clouds and fog clear out. We are off to the races with those temperatures. Yes, triple digits for the inland neighborhoods across portions of Duval, McMullen counties. We are going to be looking at upper 90s for many other neighborhoods. Here in Corpus Christi, we could be part of that club. The coolest temperatures will be immediately along the coast, where we'll keep some of that fog over the water. That'll clear out by late afternoon, keeping things a bit cooler along with those chilly water temperatures in the middle 60s. But the wind is something we're also keeping an eye on. Thankfully today, here's one silver lining in the wind situation. Around 3 p.m., our winds are going to change direction, and so that will bring that wind speed down for a short time before our gusts are off to the races again. And especially during the overnight, it will be very gusty because a cold front is on the way. So it's out in West Texas right now, just making its way into the Lone Star State with some rain out through New Mexico and West Texas. We are not going to see rain from this, unfortunately. That would really help us out because our fire danger is impacted by how dry it has been out there. The drought monitor updated yesterday. Not the greatest news, lots of color on the map. And wind gusts and relative humidity are going to be in that combination that really, really favors fire weather, unfortunately. So for that reason, the National Weather Service has issued fire weather alerts, a red flag or fire weather warning for many neighborhoods, and a watch for others. Begins at noon, goes until 9 o'clock tonight, and we're going to see these alerts back tomorrow as well because that fire danger gets worse. Watch today across most of our neighborhoods, high to very high fire danger. Tomorrow, almost all the coastal bend is on that 5 out of 5 extreme fire danger. So we really need to be careful on Saturday and make sure we're reducing that vulnerability for fires to set off. Sunday will still be a day of concern, but an improvement overall. And over the next 7 days, we're looking at some better conditions for those of you in Rockport and Kingsville. Temperatures will be much lower, and we'll still have that sunshine through next week.
Alrighty, Stephanie, thank you so much. Coming up on Sunrise, who's keeping it clean and who needs to clean it up? Let's find out on this week's Kitchen Cops Report. Hey, welcome back, folks. It's time for this week's Kitchen Cops Report. Andy Lascano has the scores from City County Health Inspectors for the week of March 3rd through March 7th.
Little Moon Daycare in London has been open a couple of years now, according to Megan Watkins, the owner, holding her baby. And we didn't go inside because the kids are asleep. Now, Megan did tell us they care for about 70 kids. Since London's growing, more could be on the way. And no doubt parents will be reassured seeing the very first Kitchen Cop sticker on the front door.
It's a super big deal for us. I feel like this sticker on our window will show parents how much we care about our food storage, which is super important for child care minimum standards. Yeah. So that's a really big deal for us.
So congratulations to Little Moon Daycare in London for keeping it clean and safe for the kiddos. Also earning perfect scores this week, the Northwest Senior Center on Upriver Road, the Nueces County Jail Annex on NPID. On this week's B list, Agave Jalisco on Ayers, 11 violations including the plumbing needs to be fixed and a pest was seen in the kitchen. They earned a score of 84.
All right, well, if you're heading out and up and out the door this morning, here's a look at what you can expect along the Harbor Bridge from the First Community Bank camera. A word of note, there are going to be some traffic changes starting tomorrow as you head into North Beach on northbound 181 over the Harbor Bridge. So be prepared for some of those detours, but that's not today. We're looking good for that commute. Here's how the rest of this commute is trending. So 181, of course, an easy ride. Coming into town, no trouble there. No traffic building along the Crosstown Expressway 37 interchange. So it's nice to have this area looking like a smooth ride so far. From the Bay Area down to the south side, not much trouble to talk about there. And as we head to the Bluff, the ride to NAS Corpus Christi is an easy one this morning. Speeds up around 30 miles per hour. The rest of the Bluff looking pretty typical, and that ride out to 361 is going to be a bit of a foggy one. That's where the worst visibility is, but we're still holding on to whole miles of visibility. Just take it slow out that way. As you head out this morning, make sure you stay safe and drive safe. That's a look at your traffic report. Your forecast is next.
Thank you, Steph. Still ahead on Sunrise, we take a look at all the St. Paddy's Day celebrations going on in this week's Coastal Bend weekend.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Hey there, good morning. A beautiful but hazy and foggy view from the Manicam. It is feeling pretty soupy out there, so this humidity, not the best for your hairstyle today, but we'll miss it this afternoon. That's what's going to give us an elevated risk of fire danger today. So we'll talk about that risk because it's going to be on the rise as well as our temperatures. But on this Pi Day, we are celebrating Pi Day with Dress for STEM. That's why Michelle and I are wearing purple today. We encourage you to do the same. Pi, you know that number from math back in the day, helps us talk about a circle, 3.14159. And if you can remember the other digits, hey, good on you, because that's all that I know. But we use this day to promote ladies in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So a couple of statistics that take us back to 2017 shows that we could use a few more ladies in science, technology, engineering, and math. Physical scientists, as far as women in that field, it only accounted for 29%. Women made up about 27% of professionals in computer and math fields. And as far as engineering goes, meteorologists take a lot of classes that engineers do, and women only made up for about 16% of that field. So you can get some conversations going today simply by wearing purple and talking about how we could use a little more representation and encourage women who historically may have been told that they should find something else to study. We can encourage them that they too, if they have an interest in this field, they can pursue it. And, my favorite, meteorology. So here are a couple ways that you can help inspire young ladies in 5 steps. Provide role models, generate excitement. You can show them hands-on how some of those fields work. Encourage them that if it's something they're interested in, stick with it. And a growth mindset that, hey, you may not be very good at math right now, but if you like chemistry, if you like biology, if you like engineering, we have a brand new bridge going up. That's something that they should stick around and see if it's something they're really interested in. And today's weather is definitely going to be a great example for that. We are starting off in a very, very soupy way, but that is not going to be the case this afternoon. And a lot of folks think that the most troublesome weather may come from storms and hurricanes and things like that. But as we've learned over the past couple of weeks, dealing with very dry conditions can be just as stressful. But I'm here to help you alleviate some of that stress. We're going to plan your weekend around our increased fire danger and some very warm temperatures, which is what we're starting the morning with. We're on either side of 70 degrees, and that south-southwest wind we have across some neighborhoods is helping to keep the visibility improved this morning. But overall, it is going to be a bit of a struggle for those of you making the ride along Highway 361 and 35, where our visibility drops to about 2.5 miles in Port Aransas. For Rockport, that's 3 miles of visibility. But as we go through today, we're going to say goodbye to the clouds and the fog by late morning. Our temperatures are a bit on a slower start because of that, but once they're gone, we're in the triple digits for some inland neighborhoods like Alice, heading out toward Freer, San Diego, even Falfurrias. And for the rest of us, we're still hanging out in the 90s. Corpus Christi, the temperature to beat to break the record, 95 degrees. I think we'll do that today by at least 1 degree. Even this evening, it's still going to be very warm as we start heading towards sunset after 7 p.m. And the breeze is going to be a big concern too. It does come down as our winds change direction. Dry line going to be nearing us during the afternoon, but the winds are off to the races tonight ahead of our next cold front, which is just starting to make its way into the Lone Star State. It is bringing some rain across parts of the Panhandle out toward New Mexico. It's not going to bring us any rain, unfortunately. So we have dry conditions, both with the crunchy grass out there, the drought monitor showing we could use some rain. Wind gusts are going to be picking up, and our relative humidity is going to be absolutely bone dry today and tomorrow. For that reason, we have fire weather alerts in effect starting at noon and going until 9 p.m. Fire weather warning or red flag warning shown there in pink for most of us. So this means please avoid any activities outdoors that could set off a spark. Don't have any chains dragging from your vehicle. Cigarette butts out the window is a no-no. We saw that with the railroad fire for our neighbors in Sinton. Just please do what you can. Be very mindful to avoid any kind of vulnerabilities that could start some trouble. Today's fire danger is going to be high. We kick that up to extreme tomorrow. That's a 5 out of 5, top of the scale on Saturday afternoon. This is the big day of concern. And then Sunday, we bring that concern down just a little bit. An improvement, but not out of the woods. So please, as you're making those weekend plans, maybe head out to the coast, enjoy some of this sunny weather. We are going to be feeling hot even tomorrow with that critical fire risk over the weekend. Temperatures cooler next week.
Now, the local events and fun things to do. It's Coastal Bend Weekend with the Hoffmans.
If you're looking for some fun stuff to do, you must have the luck of the Irish because your Coastal Bend weekend is finally here.
So with St. Patrick's Day coming up, this is the only poor decisions that we expect you to be making. There's some unbelievable events happening in your neighborhood. So let's start right here in downtown Corpus Christi.
As we've reported, Cassidy's has postponed its annual St. Patty's Day festival until next year.
But it's still hosting celebrations with some Irish cheer on Saturday and on Monday, the day of St. Patrick's Day. Doors open at 3 p.m. Saturday, 2 p.m. on Monday.
You can also paint downtown green at the St. Patty's Day Bar Crawl and Music Fest.
On Saturday, starting at 2 p.m., you can enjoy some drink specials and live music at some of your favorite bars. And plenty of green beer will be flowing.
For a look at all the participating venues, you can visit our website, christv.com.
And if you'd rather find something to do with the kiddos, the Arts Center of Corpus Christi is having family art time.
It's a free weekly event, but on Saturday, the theme will celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., you and your family can explore your artistic side, make memories, and take home a masterpiece, a 4-leaf clover sun catcher. Sign-ups are at the door.
For some good food and good vibes, you can enjoy a variety of mouth-watering eats at Lazy Beach for its St. Patty's Day Food Truck Festival. It's on Sunday starting at 11 a.m.
If you want to continue having a tasty time, you can head on out to the Rockport Beach for the Bugs and Baits Crawfish Cook-Off.
The all-you-can-eat crawfish festival helps raise money for youth organizations in the Rockport-Fulton area.
The fun is all weekend long. We have the full schedule posted on our website.
And a quick mention, the Rockport-Fulton Market Days is also happening in the neighborhood.
That's on Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. over at the festival grounds at Rockport Harbor.
Back here in Corpus Christi, there's always an opportunity to dive into vibrant cultures of the world right from our neighborhood.
The Texas State Museum of Asian Cultures is hosting a special event to highlight Japan. The dynamic experience will allow visitors to enjoy entertainment, arts and crafts, exhibits, and demonstrations. It starts at 5 Saturday night.
And of course, folks, if you want to learn more about events happening in your neighborhood, you could always visit our website, christv.com.
And hey, if you happen to have any events you may know of that belong on Coast Bend Weekend, just send us an email, give us a call. We'll throw it on there.
All right, lots of fun stuff to do this weekend, but we've got to get through the Friday morning commute first. And kicking off this weekend, we are starting with a soupy beginning, so a hazy ride out the door it is, especially for folks here, as we see from the CCAC camera, making a foggy ride over the JFK Causeway. So please be careful. This is where we have some of the worst visibility. Still, we've got whole miles to contend with, so not too bad. But here's a look at the roadways as we start along the water here. 361, Park Road 22, and the JFK Causeway, all looking like a smooth ride coming on into the bluff, where the approach to NAS Corpus Christi is easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Rest of SPID looking good here through the bluff, and the bluff itself problem-free. As we go into town from the south side up to the Bay Area, a smooth ride along all the major thoroughfares, even for those of you taking the Crosstown Expressway. That interchange at 37 is a breeze right now. No issues to report. And heading over 181, the Harbor Bridge, we're doing okay. No trouble to report there either. So as you head out this morning, give yourself some extra time for that fog. Make sure you stay safe and you drive safe. We'll talk about our fire danger risk today and into the weekend, and I'll have that weekend forecast ahead.
Now, say hello to your neighbors. This is your Chris 6 News Sunrise Shoutouts.
Hello, KRIS 6 Sunrise team. We're Cabana Pantry in the Padre Island neighborhood. We want to wish our neighbors across the coastal bend a great.
Hey, we hope you have a great morning too, everyone over at the Cabana Pantry. And folks, if you want to send us your shout out video as well, make sure you scan the QR code on your screen or head to our website, christv.com.
From Chris 6, this is 20 minutes of non-stop news.
And we are starting our non-stop news with a live look at our Manicam. Meteorologist Stephanie Lauber is also standing by with a look at your forecast and how the roads are looking this Friday morning. But first, we have some neighborhood news to get to. Corpus Christi made a big step towards its first large-scale desalination plant. TCEQ commissioners approved a crucial permit for the Inner Harbor Water Treatment Project. Some city leaders are optimistic about the project, and it is expected to produce 36 million gallons of water a day with a tentative price tag of $757 million.
So today's historic decision by the TCEQ commissioners represents a crucial milestone in securing water not only for our direct community, but for the entire region.
Now, not everyone is on board. An environmental group, along with neighbors who live near the proposed plant, tried to block the permit but were denied. The city is waiting for a final permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. If approved, construction is set to begin in 2026, with completion expected in 2028. Now, desal is not the only alternative water source for the city of Corpus Christi. Last week, City Council held a workshop to discuss other alternative water sources. It includes the use of well waters along the Nueces River, the Mary Roads pipeline improvements, wastewater reuse plan, and the La Quinta water treatment project. The presentations touched on timelines and possible costs. Most of the proposals discussed would be long-term projects.
I'm your Sinton neighborhood news reporter, Victoria Valderrama. Victims of the Sinton fires have noticed an abundance of donations ranging from clothes to food. Well, now they have even more support coming from an unexpected partner.
It's just been a lot of support. Just from every direction.
It's been over a week since Sinton was devastated with fires. Neighbors like Barbara Funke are still picking up the pieces.
Even though it's still standing, it is going to wind up being a total loss because of the damage on the outside. And of course, people don't realize the smoke and the soot. And of course, with the winds blowing so hard, it just kind of permeated the house.
Her home here on Hamilton Street was destroyed. Sadly, she's one of several people navigating through a loss like this.
I know the Red Cross was here to help and definitely helping people who lost everything or still needed things. I mean, like they even helped me because there's those immediate needs that you need to take care of.
As the city works to help those in need with donations and temporary housing, other groups have stepped in to help.
Us being the largest employer in Sinton, we felt it was something we needed to do.
Steel Dynamics and United Way of the Coastal Bend have joined forces to provide some relief. All month long, Steel Dynamics will match every donation dollar for dollar. All of the money raised will go towards the Fire Disaster Relief Fund.
We've never had a company say, in a disaster situation, we're going to match what everybody donates. It's a big responsibility.
Stephanie Jordan is the CEO of the United Way of the Coastal Bend. She says as of Thursday, they've managed to raise more than $70,000. It's thanks to the help of other organizations and good people donating from their own pockets. Steel Dynamics tells us they're happy to help.
It's kind of repaying the favor a little bit. What is our goal as a company? We want to be a good place to work. We want to provide for the families who work here, and we think this is just another way to do that.
General Manager Dennis Black calls Sinton home because these aren't just their neighbors, they're family. Donations will be accepted until March 21st. Click onto KRISTV.com to learn how you might be able to help. In Sinton, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Victoria Balderrama for Chris 6 News.
And we're going to be talking about the fire danger risk really on the up and up between today especially and tomorrow. Saturday is going to be our highest fire danger since those fires that broke out in Sinton. So we need to make sure we're being extra careful so that we can avoid any kind of problems as we try to enjoy our weekend. But thankfully this morning we've got plenty of humidity. Unfortunately, it's causing some issues for drivers. So let's start off with what to expect when you head out the door. We're very warm this morning. Temperatures don't have a lot of wiggle room across our neighborhoods. We're on either side of 70 degrees. So yeah, it's a warm morning here, and it's feeling pretty muggy as we take a look at those dew point temperatures. They're not far off from the actual air temperatures, and we're in the 60s. So that means those dew point temperatures, which help us understand how much moisture is in the air around us, are telling us it is muggy, if you haven't already felt it by stepping up and out the door. But all of that moisture we have now making for some foggy roadways out there. So drivers, if you're heading out along the coast, 361, Highway 35, even portions of 181 and 77 likely to be dealing with some of those visibility restrictions from the haze and fog. We're now down to 2 miles of visibility in Port A, and that's the lowest that we have at our reporting stations. So it's better than yesterday, but yes, it is going to linger much like yesterday's fog did and take some time to move out of our forecast. So here's how that happens. Across your neighborhood, if you're in our more inland neighborhoods, you'll see the clearing first as this moves out toward the water. Through the mid-morning hours, it allows us to warm up rapidly. Watch as the inland neighborhoods reach those triple digits, 100 degrees, actual air temperature. Thank goodness we won't have as much humidity then, because it is just going to be very, very hot. Most other neighborhoods also in the 90s. We could break a record high temperature in Corpus Christi, 95 degrees. The coolest spot is going to be along the immediate coastline where that fog is going to linger likely through the early afternoon hours, and then a warm evening as we head closer towards sunset. Now there's no rain in the forecast, unfortunately, but there is a cold front on the way. Right now it is bringing rain to parts of New Mexico and the panhandle of Texas. Would love for this to have brought us some rain, but it's not going to. And as it moves this way, we'll have dry air out ahead of it. That's the dry line we talk about. And very dry air behind it. So we'll be talking about fire weather alerts today and tomorrow. In fact, today's fire weather alerts, a warning for most of us, begins at noon, goes until 9 o'clock tonight, meaning we need to be very careful to avoid any activities that could set off a spark, because today's fire danger is a 3 out of 5 for most of the coastal bend. Some inland counties, very high, so 4 out of 5. Tomorrow is a big concern. 5 out of 5 extreme fire danger for nearly every neighborhood here in the coastal bend, including those barrier islands. So we need to be very careful. Sunday will be an improvement, but still problematic. So avoid any activities that could set off a spark. We don't have any meaningful rainfall in the next 7 days, so especially the case, we need to be careful out there. But we will see some relief from the hot temperatures as we head on into the beginning of next week.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
In the 6 things you need to know, after we learned Veteran Affairs is eliminating its Office of Equity Assurance, I checked in with the VA to see how recent cuts are affecting our neighborhoods. So the Office of Equity Assurance helped minority veterans with disparities in how the government provides benefits. A public affairs officer told me they did not have any employees working under the Office of Equity Assurance in the VA Texas Valley Coastal Bend system. He also said 0 employees at VA clinics in Corpus Christi were affected by recent layoffs of probationary employees, even before a federal judge's temporary restraining order against the Trump administration's workforce reductions. Now, the deadline is approaching for you to get your real ID. Starting May 7th, driver's licenses won't be accepted at airports. Travelers will need a passport or a real ID, and you'll also need a real ID or passport to enter federal buildings. To verify if you have a real ID or not, all you have to do is look for the gold star at the top right corner of your driver's license, and you could find out details in Alexis Scott's story. Just head to our website, christv.com. So for neighbors that can't make it to court, to the courthouse rather, during the week, the city is hosting community court this weekend. It will be tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Ben F. McDonald Library. A judge will be on hand to help you take care of any tickets or violations, and you can also set up payment plans and resolve any active warrants. The address is 4044 Greenwood Drive. The Corpus Christi Parks and Recreations will be hosting a summer job fair. It will take place Saturday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Greenwood Senior Center. On-the-spot interviews will take place for over 100 part-time and full-time jobs that need to be filled. Greenwood Senior Center is at 4040 Greenwood Drive. Cinnamon Shore is hosting a design show house for its first ever Best in Texas Coastal Home Tour. And from now until March 22nd, the Gulffront Homes Sage and Sea will be open to the public. Now stop by and tour a stunning Gulffront home with top-notch interior design and coastal architecture. The tour runs from 9:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. Tickets are available at the door for $10 per person or $25 per family, and money from ticket sales benefits the Port Aransas Education Foundation and the Marlin Legacy Foundation as well. The USS Lexington Museum is celebrating women in the Navy with its newest exhibit. It features tons of artifacts and memorabilia representing 117 years of women in the Navy. There are also interactive displays, and soon they'll be adding a couple of holograms. In 1980, the USS Lexington became the first Navy aircraft carrier to have women serving permanently as part of the crew.
All right, another check on how the roadways are doing coming up in your traffic report. This view of SPID. It is a foggy morning for some neighbors, and as you're heading out for the commute, silver lining. We're doing better this morning. The fog is not as dense, but it is a problem for those of you heading out along the coast. If you're taking SPID to catch 361, that's you. Let's head to the roadways now and show you how we're doing over the Harbor Bridge. Seeing some stop and go if you're heading north toward Portland. So be prepared for some slowdowns there, but nothing major at this point. As we come in closer to town, down 37, across 44, not looking too shabby, and that interchange of the Crosstown Expressway at 37 is problem-free right now. From the Bay Area to the south side, all the major thoroughfares are looking good this morning, and out in the Bluff, the approach to NAS Corpus Christi is still looking pretty good. Speeds up around 25 miles per hour. No real issues across the Bluff, just the usual stop and go on Waldron Road, and for those of you heading out to the island, again, watch out for some of that haziness and fog. But as you head out this morning, make sure you stay safe and you drive safe. That's a look at your traffic report. Another check on the forecast coming right up.
When veterans leave active duty, some might feel overwhelmed adjusting to civilian life. Veterans here are making that transition easier for veterans and their families at a one-stop shop at the Clayburgh County Veteran Resource Fair. Orlando Rosa is a retired sailor.
I served from 1990 to 2010.
When he left active duty, he was lucky enough to learn about his resources through a transition assistance program.
That information was given to us.
But not every veteran gets to learn their resources fresh out of service.
They don't know where to start.
That's where the Veteran Resource Fair comes in. Last year was the first one.
About 250 veterans, maybe a little more.
I was there last year. It was a good turnout.
Vietnam veteran Jerry Martinez,
A lot of us got out and we didn't know anything about our benefits.
says it was an ear-opening experience.
My hearing was gone almost, and I just got my hearing aids finally.
But it's not just for veterans, it's for their families.
We can't do it without our families. Our families stood by us when we were in the service, and this is just a way for them to help them and understand what benefits are afforded to our veterans and some of the family members.
And they'll have everything from financial to emotional to physical resources.
So banks, loan offices, nursing homes, doctors, sometimes offices will come out, insurance companies.
To plan for now and the future.
We actually have Turcotte and Ramirez funeral homes.
Because there's always something new and benefits are always changing.
If you have questions about your husband's benefits, daughters, brothers, sons, come and get those answers.
Because sometimes we can show our thanks through our actions.
A thank you is not enough. And with these resources, it's even better for them. And every veteran's got to be thanked somehow.
The Veteran Resource Fair is scheduled for Saturday, April 26th from 9 to 3. And just go ahead and click on christv.com for more information. Reporting in Clayburgh County, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Michaela Chavez, KRIS 6 Sunrise.
Michaela, thank you so much. Here's a look at what's trending. A Florida pizza delivery driver pulled up to a house to find an 8-foot alligator in the customer's driveway. A Bradenton police officer responded to a call about the gator on Sunday, and while he was in the neighborhood, the delivery driver arrived and the officer warned her about what was going on. She was too scared to make the delivery, so she asked him to do it. You can see the police officer got the pizza to the customer, who was just as surprised to see the gator underneath her car. Florida wildlife trappers relocated the gator away from the neighborhood, and I'm sure Steph, you are very familiar with the gator situation in Florida.
Bradenton is out by the Tampa area and pretty much any part of Florida, but especially Central and South Florida. You might find a little gator. They're kind of like, we have seagulls here. We have seagulls in Florida. We have land seagulls too. I don't know how else you could say it.
With bigger teeth.
Yes, scaly friends that may wander into your neighborhood because there's a lot of canals in Florida. So
yeah.
They love to sunbathe, and I guess they like pizza too. But yeah, Florida Fish and Wildlife is usually the folks who have to come out and get them back to their home.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad we don't have, that as common here.
Yes, and maybe it's the benefit of the dry heat that we're dealing with, that we don't have to deal with critters. I don't think the critters like the kind of heat we've been having lately. And the temperatures today, probably not going to be anybody's cup of tea. But you are a fan of the warm weather, so you might like it. I like it when I'm out at the beach and the hot weather's there. So today we're dancing with the record high temperatures, but once we get past that, we're really focusing on the fire danger for today and tomorrow. So there's a lot going on in the forecast. We're going to hop right on into it. So heading out the door this morning, it's already warm and it's a bit soupy. It is not going to be humid at all this afternoon, but it is this morning, so that's making for some visibility issues. Have the wide view for yourself if you're traveling along 361, Highway 35, or portions of 281 and 77 in our southern zones. That's where the bulk of the fog is, but we're talking whole miles, so not as bad as yesterday. Just be ready for that. It's going to linger. Temperatures on either side of 70 degrees this morning, and if you think this is warm, wait till you see this afternoon. Going for that dog walk, we're going to need to be careful because it's going to be hot out there, and we're paying a special tribute to one of our former dog walking forecast stars. This is Toby. Toby passed just a short time ago, and he's been featured here in the dog walk forecast today and would hang out a lot at the dog park there at Waters Edge Park. So we're sending our warmest thoughts and wishes, condolences to his family and to his pupper friends out there. But we are hoping that in Tobystead, you can make a nice dog walk with your four-legged friend. Maybe head out to the beach where it'll be cooler. We can enjoy some nice sunshine because it's going to be hot every other place. So we are going to be getting to those 80s by lunchtime here in Corpus Christi, and the southwest wind will really accelerate our daytime heating today. We are going to be hot, y'all. Inland neighborhoods in the triple digits. Most other folks getting to the 90s today and spending most of the afternoon there. The only place to find relief from the heat is out along the coast where some of that haziness will linger over the water. But we are shifting our attention to the fire danger. There's a red flag warning in effect for most of the coastal bend today. Starts at noon, goes until tomorrow. Here's why. Our fire danger is going to be high to very high today. Tomorrow, that is extreme. That is a 5 out of 5 on our scale. So we haven't seen this high of a fire danger since we had those fires in Sinton over a week ago. So I'm not trying to scare anybody, but we do need to take it seriously and be careful outside because Saturday is going to be a day where if we're not careful, any activities could really set off a spark. So we need to be careful. But over the next couple of days, we are going to enjoy some hot, hot temperatures. So if you're a fan of the heat, this is for you. Other than that, let's keep it safe out there.
Yeah, folks, stay safe, and we hope you guys have a great weekend. Of course, if you need any ideas, make sure you go to christv.com, and we'll see you later. We'll see you at noon. Have a good one.